Ariel Helwani post-fight at Bellator 222 alongside Bellator president Scott Coker following the event here at Madison Square Garden. I have to say, I didn't think Scott would show up. I thought he'd duck me after his Warriors lost Game 6. My condolences.
Thank you. You know what? It was a tough loss, getting injured, but they fought like Warriors last night. But I tell you, Toronto has a great team, and I know you predicted it like a month ago. You said Toronto's going to win the championship. I didn't believe it, but you were right. So hats off to you. But we'll be back next year.
Yes. Well, a tough night for you guys last night. A great night for you here at MSG Friday night. I want to ask you about Rory MacDonald. I think there were a lot of question marks about him. Mm-hmm. I was worried about how he would look, how he would perform. What did you think of his performance?
You know, I thought he looked really good. And clearly, won the fight on all the scorecards. And the jiu-jitsu on the ground was really spectacular. Very high level, transitions going back and forth. But Roy did what he does, and I think he proved that he's the champ, and you got to take it away from the champ. And Neiman, I think, give him another 3, 4, 5 fights. I think he give Roy a real big run. But I think Roy clearly dominated this fight.
You have always said that you wanted to wrap up the tournament in a year. So would that mean that you're still planning on having the finale, the rematch between Rory and Douglas Lima in September?
Yeah, that's a game plan. We're going to give everybody a couple days. Right. But we're going to take a beat, and then we're going to probably have it sometime in September. And not only will we have the finals of the tournament, the welterweight tournament, in September, but we'll have the beginning of the featherweight tournament in September, where we'll have all the fighters fight 16-man tournament. So we have a lot going on. We're going to be very busy.
And you're going to have all 16 fighters fighting on the same card, right, to kick off the tournament?
Yes, that's the game plan.
Wow. Okay. Let me ask you about what happened in the co-main event. Chael Sonnen retired. Are you surprised he did so?
Yeah, I tell you, I didn't see it coming, because with Chael, he's had some.
I tell you, here in New York, they don't care that we're doing an interview.
Yeah, it was worse last time, so this is better. Oh man, last time it was just it's interesting. But listen, I think that Chael felt like if he lost the fight, that was it, and he just felt this was the time. And man, I tell you, I'm so honored to have him be our promoter be his promoter for such a long time, and he has given so much to this promotion. And we're going to continue having him as our broadcast analyst. And he's going to have a home here at Bellator as long as he wants one.
That is great to hear. Now, I know next week in London you have the middleweight title on the line, Gegard Mousasi, Rafael Lovato Jr., and here you have a situation with Lyoto Machida where he could conceivably fight at 205 and 185 for the belt. But since the timing seems to work out better for 185, since you guys have already said that Bader is going to defend his heavyweight title, right, is it more likely that his next fight will be for the 185-pound title?
Yeah, I mean, I think, let's see what happens in the fight. And timing will be an issue, but I think that if those guys are healthy, they should get it on again and fight for the, fight for Gegard's belt. Lyoto looked amazing tonight. I don't think he broke a sweat that much, but he's dangerous and he can still hit, man. And so, if the fight turns out to be exceptional in London, then we'll probably put that fight together before the end of the year.
Your business partner, Danis, looked good in his second pro fight. What did you make of his performance?
A lot of people give him such a hard time, and I don't understand why. I mean, part of me does, because his persona, he's out there, he's barking, he's talking, and he's, he has a little personality on him. But the guy's got 2 fights, and in MMA, that's nothing. And what we ask of the jiu-jitsu fighters is like, look, if you're going to be coming from a jiu-jitsu background, learn how to strike, learn how to use the cage, learn how to maneuver inside this, this platform, because it's different than any other, jiu-jitsu match. Somebody's trying to punch you in the face, and someone's trying to really hurt you, and you're not going to just be able to, tap out, and I mean, you could be in a dangerous situation for long periods of time and take a lot of damage. So, but 2 fights, I can't ask anything more of that kid. The thing that I would love to have though is frequency. With him is like, look, stay healthy, stay, the thing with Khabib, I thought that he shouldn't have been punished so bad, because I think, he was just standing there. It was Khabib came at him, and I tell Javier Mendez that all the time. Hey, your guy attacked my guy. Your guy should be punished, not my guy. But frequency, repetition, more experience. That's what we're going to try to get him. So as long as he's healthy, we're going to try to continue to fight him over and over and try to get him as many fights as we can before the end of the year.
Hopefully, I don't know if you heard about this, but he told me moments ago that he tore his LCL last week.
Oh, geez.
So, yeah, he fought with that. So hopefully he'll be okay and will be able to return sooner rather than later. I want to ask you about Kyoji Horiguchi. So could you explain the situation now that he's your champion? He has to defend the title at least once. Could it be more than once?
Well, my deal with Sakibara is that he will defend it once a year. Could it be more? Yes, depending on how busy he is in Japan. But that doesn't mean we can't send over, like, for instance, some of our fighters, let's say, to go to Japan and fight for the Rising Belt, right? So Horiguchi is the Bellator champ, and he's part of the family now, and we'll have access to him at least once a year. But it could be more.
And finally, I want to ask you about Aaron Pico. He loses once again, this time to Adam Borsch, and now the talk is like, you know, they ruined him. Bellator ruined him. His management ruined him. He ruined his career. Why is he taking these fights? How do you make sense of all of this? No one saw this coming.
You know what? I think he said it best. He said, you know, I've proven I can wrestle, and I've proven I can box, but I still need to learn how to fight, right? So I think with Aaron, don't give up on him. You know, he still has youth on his side and to grow and to learn. And he was thrown into, you know, a tough situation. But a lot of those choices were made by himself and the management. And, you know, we went along with some of this, right? But, you know, at the end of the day, he was this close to knocking out Henry Corrales. He was 30 seconds away from winning a fight, controlling all the first 2 rounds, I thought, and controlling the first half of the third round. So, you know, he got caught, right? And so whether it's now or later or, you know, in his career, you know, we're going to have to see if, you know, how does he react when he gets caught? That's going to be the question now or later. So, you know, it's, you know, he's got to take a step back, I think. I think with him, we're going to sit down with him and his family and his new manager, and we're going to say, you know, I'm going to explain my position. It's going to be, look, we still have a lot of faith in Aaron, but I think we got to take a real big step back and just pump the brakes and slow down, and then, you know, basically reboot.
If you could, would you do things differently?
I mean, listen, the 4 fights he had where he won was a devastating fashion. You know, I don't want to say what fighter, but we were supposed to have one of our fighters fight in a main event fight in San Jose in the lightweight division. I saw Aaron knock this kid out in the gym. You're talking about, you know, a top 10 guy, you know, at one point. So this kid had like 40, 50 fights. Aaron knocks him out in the gym where he was like stiff. I was like, oh my God, this guy has so much power. He's dangerous. So, you know what? It kind of goes both ways. You know, it's like, look, what we're seeing, what the manager's seeing. You know, I mean, you know, they're saying, look, Aaron's going to beat Michael Chandler in 2 fights. That's what we were sold on when we got him. Saying, hey, all this wrestling experience, all the boxing experience. But you know, let's just talk about where we go from here, because I don't feel like the kid has, you know, he has a lot to learn, a lot to grow, and we'll be there for him. And so it's going to be up to him. I know he's upset. I want to give him a couple of days just to let him have his space. But we'll talk to him in a couple of weeks, and we'll see what they want to do.
Thank you, Scott. Congrats on a great night, and good luck next week in London.
Yeah, thank you so much. We'll see you there, right, Aaron?
Yes, I will be there in spirit.